Welcome back to another Deep Dive with Derek. I'm your host, Derek. Friends call me D-Rock, here with another reaction to Phish. We're going to jump into another album review here. Today we got Story of Ghost. Got Alpine coming up. I'm told I got to get through this one. There's some solid songs on this one, I'm told, including Ghost and Prog Ghost. That's something that's popped up before. Mama Dance, I think. Tell me which one of those. What's the best live version for that? Birds of a Feather, I think people have said. Waiting in the Velvet Sea, I've heard about. But anyway, let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into it. First song is Ghost. So here we go. Let's check it out. Okay. Got like a lot of bass. Okay, so funky. Is this like funk? Like, what is it, cow funk? Have I heard that before? Is this so funk but out with the cows? Vermont funk. Okay, so he's talking about this ghost that he talks to when he has hurt. This is an interesting picture. What is going on here? This is like a Pac-Man ghost combined with Clifford the Big Red Dog, but also he's got a face inside his mouth and wearing a nightgown with dust for hands that have candles on them. This is super interesting. So there's the story of Ghost. He calls up Ghost. Is this like the devil? Makes deals with the devil or something? Invisible friend, maybe. Listen to that bass.
Left unhooked. He's waiting in the wind and rain. I simply haven't looked.
Interesting. So like an invisible friend or a different part of him. It's always been there. He just hasn't been looking for it. definitely different. A different vibe than the other songs. The other music. Is that gonna be it? I can see how that would dovetail into a nice jam. All right, well, that's about it. More things I'm noticing. It looked like a crown on this ghost, but it looks like an eggshell now with a wine glass on top of it and like a fur over the shoulders. I like that song. I like that kind of upbeat, funky style. A lot of bass, emphasis on the bass. That was awesome. So, got my list in front of me here. Next, we've got Birds of a Feather. So, I'll be back with Birds of a Feather. Okay, now we've got Birds of a Feather. This is another one that have popped up in the comments regularly. I can't remember why. Is this more like a ballad one, or I don't feel like it pops up in terms of being like a heavy jam, but I could be wrong. Let's find out. A lot of emphasis on the bass in these first two songs.
It's easy sometimes when you just coast along. But like it or not, something always seems to go wrong. Sometimes people build you up just so they can knock you down. Sometimes they will have you there because they need someone around.
This is interesting. This is kind of cool. And sometimes everybody says the lyrics don't make any sense. They're just words. Don't listen to it. But I promise you the words mean something. And this is how I listen to music. So if you don't like it, there's plenty of other channels you can watch. It's easy to just coast along is very interesting because that's what we hope for. We wish for this life of no problems, this life of everything's all solved, except we immediately get used to that. Hedonic adaptation is when we completely get used to our surroundings, and then it's table stakes, and then we get upset when this perfect life that I expect, something bad happens. And yeah, so it's something always seems to go wrong. And then he said, people want to build you up so it can knock you down, and they have you around just so they can feel better about themselves. This is kind of like a psychology song to me.
People build you up just so they can knock you down. Sometimes they will have you there because they need someone around. Perhaps you'll receive invitations for tea, or perhaps you will laugh and you'll make them all smile. Or maybe you'll join them because it had to be. Perhaps you'll forget that you forgot for a while.
I was waiting for a but. Perhaps you'll get invitations. Perhaps you'll have some laughs. I forgot what the third line was. And then I thought, but. And then I thought there was going to be a pessimistic line there. And perhaps you just forgot that you forgot. That's a funny line. I forgot that I forgot.
You'll forget that you forgot for a while. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside.
Birds of a feather flock together. That's the term, right? And I think birds of a feather flock together. So people hang out with people that are like them, which is fair enough. That goes back to tribal days when you had to associate with people you trusted, and people that looked like you were more easily trusted than people who didn't look like you. So birds of a feather flock together. They're all flocking.
Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. pulses and ringing and campfire chants of ritual drumming, although at first glance you thought you could run, but you won't take a chance. It's not an experience if they can't bring someone along. They hang on emotions they bottle inside, they peck at the ground and they strut out of stride.
That's interesting. It's not an experience if you can't bring someone with. That really reminds me. This is absolutely not what they intended when they wrote the song. Tom Marshall or whatever his name is. He's usually the writer, because this stuff didn't exist back then. But it's almost like, what experiences do you have? Are you out at the park with your kids? Are you on a bike ride? Are you experiencing a cool waterfall? Doesn't count unless you take a picture of it and post it on social media. If you didn't post it on social media, it doesn't even count as an experience. That's where my head went with that. But anyway, whatever. Let's go.
Of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside.
Some weird, like, spaceshipy sounds going on in the background. Got some guitar. Spaceship sound that they do a lot. That sounds like some horns in the back. So I don't think it is. Cool, another funky one. That one I think is there's some meaning behind that one that I'm not appreciating yet, but I will eventually. So next song I got, if I wrote this down right, Meat. Is that right? I'm gonna go find that and I'll be back. Okay, here we go. We got Meat. Let's check it out. Another funky tune.
Footsteps through the wall, I wait in silence for your call, then take a shot and watch you fall.
I'm the prince, I hear you, and then I shoot you dead.
If I had a ghost but I cannot fly, living on my street, I drive to stay alive and offer them some meat.
This is crazy. They have like multiple verses going on.
If I had a ghost but I cannot fly, living on my street, I drive to stay alive and offer them some meat. If I had a resting place, 'cause I on my street, I'd try to stay alive and offer them some meat.
I heard him say something about meat. It sounds like, is this, is this, it, oh my God. Okay, so there was two separate lines. One sounded like it was from the perspective of the ghost, a ghost, undead and whatever. And the other one was the perspective of the person being hunted by the ghost.
Stay alive and offer them some meat. Offer them some meat.
They got somebody to guest on this with talks with one of those things.
And offer them some meat. I need a different life, I think, on my street. The times I stay and offer them some meat. And treasure moments as I drink on my street. Memories, let them sing. Offer them some meat.
Bizarre song. Three up, three down. We've got a lot of bass, a lot of funk. That one was really weird, and it felt like it was simultaneously a ghost talking and a person being hunted talking. That was interesting. All right, so next we got I don't know how to pronounce this. Guyute. That's how I would say it. This is another one that's been showing up in the comments, so I'm going to go check that out, and I'll be back with that. All right, here we are. We got Guyute. Let's jump right in. This is a long one. This is 8.5 minutes long.
Guyute was the ugly pig.
Guyute. Okay, so I was wrong. Guyute.
Guyute was the ugly pig
Ugly pig.
who walked on me and danced a jig that he had learned when he was 6. Then stopped and did some other tricks, like pulling weapons from his coat and holding them against my throat.
Hold up. What? Guyute is a pig who holds weapons against the protagonist's throat.
He lectured me in a language strange, then scampered quickly out of range.
I guess whistling. It's one of those things where they got this happy, upbeat song with some really dark, kind of interesting lyrics. A pig is assaulting this guy and running away. But here we are, whistling. Keys. timing is weird. This section reminds me a lot of the flick tones. There's no banjo, but... building up here to something. I literally just said there's no banjo. And then they come in with this bass that sounds like something you would do with a banjo. That's funny. Okay. It's got this bluegrass feel to it now, but with a bass instead of a banjo. Crazy. We got the guitar part now. More of a rock, hard rock sound. Take us on a journey of all the different genres. That was a long fill. Another section.
I'm bouncing like a newborn elf. I can't remain inside myself. Guyute glances in my eyes, it manages to hypnotize
So Guyute is now hypnotizing this fellow.
me as I sleep the sleep of death. He sucks from me my only breath that I have breathed since I was 10.
It's a Guyute kills him?
He sucks from me my only breath that I have breathed since I was 10. I hope this happens once again.
Yeah, could it happen once again? Now, interestingly, I have heard there are some philosophers. So the fear of death is a very human, it's part of the human condition. There's a whole school of thought that says everything that humans do, not some things, not most things, everything that humans do is to shelter us from the fear of death because we're the first species that we know of course, that can peer into the future and realize that we're going to die, and that scares the shit out of us. So we go to work and invent stories and whatever. But some philosophers will lean into this and say, you should be really curious. What does it feel like to die? This is going to be your last experience. And there's a little bit of that in here. So this person had Guyute hypnotized him and sucked out his breath, and I hope it happens again. Guess that experience was so profound that he wants it to happen again. You can't, but that's where my head went here. This is what happens when you talk to an existential philosopher and have them listen to this song. Okay, abrupt ending. That one, I need to hear it live, but that one might eclipse Bathtub Gin or Stash or some of the others. You Enjoy Myself as my favorite. But again, I've only heard this one version. I need to hear some live versions. What's the best Guyute to listen to? Is there a go-to one that people like? I'd love to hear that one. Let me know. All right, I'm going to cut it here for part one. I'll be back with part two with Ficus, but I'll link to that here, part two. But I'll see you here next time.